This week's conversation with Pete involved me talking with him about how he approaches rehabilitation and different ways he's learned to make it more effective and time effective as well, so that way he doesn't stay with one athlete the entire time. Um, Certain injuries or certain chronic injuries, he has protocols already set, like actual printed out protocols already set, so that way after the first time he goes through it with the athlete, he can just give them the packet to have them do their own rehab and monitor from a distance as he helps another patient to kind of make himself more effective and dynamic in the athletic training room. Specifically, I know he has a protocol for medial tibial stress syndrome, which or shin splints, which involves a lot of retraining of stabilizing muscles of the ankle using proprioceptive exercises on like on the Dynadisc or on the AirX pad. A lot of just balancing different exercises on the AirX pad, such as RDLs, band resisted RDLs in multiple directions. So you'll have the band pulling you forward each lateral direction and posterior, all doing the RDL. So you have to stabilize through that resistance on that specific side. Along with that, he has kind of like the star balance thing where you have to reach out and touch a certain spot while balancing on one ankle. More proprioceptive exercise, and even and there he has lunges on a Bosu ball, like even more proprioceptive, and also a little bit of a hip activation with hip bridges and single leg hip bridges to work on just more upper chain strengthening. I'd say the way he approaches his rehab is pretty proactive, and the fact that he likes to progress athletes. If it's obviously if it's too easy, he's gonna progress them. Like he sees them doing things with ease, or he sees the athletes been doing things for a while the same. He's gonna be like, all right, we're doing something else, and that's too easy. So if they're getting too easy, if there's a hamstring injury, actually today there was a hamstring injury that has been rehabbing for a while, doing stool scoots. At first he transitioned him on the stool. He had him doing stool scoots. Then he got him on the stool with the broken wheel, so that way it made it harder. And then today he's been doing that for a while. So then he had him doing hamstring curls on the yoga ball, just as one of the final progressions. Because I mean, he's been in rehab for a while, and he's almost 100%. Well, at least 90%. One of the things he suggested that I do is come up with these protocols or for very common injuries, so that way I don't have to directly manage the athlete as they do their exercises. Or even so, if it's a returning athlete and they understand their exercise, I could just hand the packet like, here you go, these are the exercises you need to do to help you with this injury and re-strengthen the muscles to get you back playing. It saves a lot of time for you as a trainer, so that way you could focus on things that don't require direct attention, and it makes you more effective in your room, so that way you don't overload yourself if there's a big rush, like recently with all the track injuries and shin splints. Yeah, that was one of those mistakes he made early on, saying that he didn't. He spread himself too thin, and he couldn't get to all the athletes. He wasn't giving enough attention to the right spots, so that's kind of one of the reasons he came with these protocols, to ease the load on himself. Me personally, having a kinesiology and exercise science background, the rehab portion of athletic training has come relatively easily. I know how to target. I mean, I've worked in a weightlifting setting, so I know how to target different muscle groups and how to adjust difficulty for better to make it more difficult or more harder. Adjusting single leg, adding more resistance, less resistance, giving a bigger band, all that kind of stuff. I think I have a pretty good grasp on it, and that's one of the areas that I enjoy in athletic training very much. That was pretty much the main majority of our talk for rehab exercises, and just mainly, like I said before, come up with or have set things in mind for specific injuries, so that way you're not sitting there racking your brain, or at least come up with a protocol, so that way you have a good standard of what the athlete needs to do, and you can adjust accordingly depending on if they need it more difficult or not. And this has been my talk on rehab exercise.